Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Trekking Across the Universe here on the NDB Media Network. It is Valentine's Day. How apropos we would be reviewing one of the episodes of Star Trek right now. It is February 14th, 2026. Want to welcome the team here. You know who this annoying person is, so I'm not even going to bother to introduce myself, but I am going to go next to Michael. Michael, how are you doing?
Doing good today. Doing good.
I'm glad you're doing well. And Admiral Greg, you are. It's classified.
Always.
Always. How you doing, Greg?
I'm under an NDA. I'm sorry, I can't tell you how I'm doing.
Understood. I like it. So, folks, we already have several people in the chat room watching. Let us know who you are and where you hail from. Fire off your questions, your comments. We are going to be interviewing Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Spoilers, people. Come on. Let's get over it. We're going to be doing... thank you, Andrew J. Lucas. We appreciate that, Andrew. Hey, Andrew, if you have any projects that you're working on, fire them off in the chat room. We'd love to give you some airtime. And if you're thinking of being a host or a guest host, hey, let us know. We'd love to have you on. And this goes to our audience. So let's get to it. Do we have any announcements before anything else? No, we good?
We're good.
Okay, let's get to it. Star Trek Starfleet Academy, come, let's away. Season 1, Episode 6 has a runtime of approximately 61 minutes. That's an hour and 1 minute for those of you keeping count. It was written by Kenneth Lin and Kylie Rossiter, and it was directed by Larry Tang. And I don't know if you were all paying attention, but Tawny Newsome, hey, Andrew, hey, it just might be. Tawny Newsome is now a producer on the program. So she was in the credits this time around, as was her co-writer. Oh my God, I forget her name. We only interviewed her on the program once, long time ago. Tawny Newsome and the writer of last week's episode. She's also now has production credit as well. But it is what it is. Michael, get us going. What'd you think?
Well, I just thought, that's cool. They're going to a graveyard of starships to do a little activity. And I mean, the thing that I noticed at the first, it seemed like when they went off and it was starting their stuff, there wasn't the animosity between Starfleet and the military war college. I just thought that was interesting. It was like, oh, okay, now they're getting along. Okay. And that was my first thought of the episode. I'll hand it over to Greg or whatever, but
Greg.
So yeah, that was actually kind of interesting. My guess is like there's several months into the term, or or at midterm. They mentioned midterms last episode. But the other thing is like they're training to be officers, so when you're on task, it's all professional. So I mean, I that's what I took away from it, and the interactions I thought were actually fantastic. I thought the kids did a great job. Genesis, I mean, again shown and has proven she's probably one of the she has more potential as a character than some of the others, as did Sam. I thought that was great. For a good adventure story, we got to see a new baddie, but the new baddie is an old baddie in a way.
Yeah.
So they're highly reminiscent of the Reavers from Firefly.
Oh, okay.
Which I thought was kind of disappointing. I didn't get the weird spatial distortion thing around their heads. Even on a rewatch, that was kind of God. I loved the pull-in of the comics. I hated the 5 minutes of the intimacy between Caleb and Tarina.
Oh, you too, huh? Okay.
I thought they could have gotten to where they needed to much quicker.
Yeah.
And although Paul is like so commanding as a maniacal bad guy, those scenes like really detracted from the pace of the show.
Thank you. I did think it went on too long, and again, it's appealing to a different audience, and I get that. That might have been the low light of the episode, pardon the pun. But the minute I saw them both doing what they were doing, my thing was, oh, they crossed the rift. So to take a Star Trek line, and they did do a good job this time. I saw the bodysuit that she was wearing. They didn't do a good job of covering it up. It was just under her neckline, and I saw it right away. And I was like, "Oh, well, okay, that's good." For the actor, but I thought you were supposed to cover up the bodysuit. I caught it on several scenes, so I don't know, if the editors caught it themselves, but it didn't distract. I caught it right away, but that didn't bug me. When they had the argument, it felt real. They're two kids. It's like, guys, get over it, resolve the issue. And the kids went insular. So they acted like kids or teenagers, I imagine. So that part felt real of that whole thing, but it was way drawn out. Way drawn out. So, as far as the rest of the episode, I noticed that Greg mentioned that these baddies come from somewhere else. For those that remember, I forget when it happened, but I'm staring at one of the books right now. The first crossover series in the novelization was the Furies that came from another universe, and it was a 4-book set. There was an original series, a Next Generation, a DS9, and a Voyager episode. And they were done in the first crossover of all the series, and they were referred to as the Fury. So when they said Furies, I'm like, are these the guys from the novels? So I just thought it was a little bit interesting. Yeah, I have one of the books, and I'll go to. I have the book First Strike, and I believe that's that's actually the original series novel. I was going to say novelization, but there were 4 books. It was the Invasion of the Fury. So they had me if that was the same, but I didn't think there was too much to them. They're just ruthless. They're mean, and they can be manhandled if necessary. I did get that, but there's just a horde of them. And in the book, they were referred to as a horde. So I felt it was like the book, a character come alive. But beyond that, I was actually real okay with this episode. It had my attention, and it felt like, okay, I can see this happening. I can see it. But there's a problem now. The burn disabled all warp-capable ships because of the dilithium, right? The Romulans have always used, for the Next Generation forward, a quantum singularity. That was their drive. So I'm like, uh-oh. Shouldn't the Romulans have taken over the universe then?
But hadn't they already merged with the Vulcans at that time?
I don't know. But the technology was still there. In the Next Generation, the Romulan, remember, there was even an episode about it, that they use a quantum singularity. Now the Federation, yeah, Andrew. Yes. That kind of bugged me, because I'm like, wait, the Romulans had that. So I don't know. The Federation tried to create one 100 some years ago, and it failed. I could see and I accepted that. But there might be a significant hole in the story now. What happened with the Romulan Vulcans, whatever. It's okay. It didn't bug me. I hope they answer that because this is a significant hole in canon. So it may be explained away, but this is a hole. Why didn't the Romulans then take over? Go ahead, Greg.
They just so in the dialogue they just mentioned that it's an experimental singularity drive
For the Federation, yes.
for the Federation. So, I mean, it may not be that, you know, much of a plot hole because, you know, yes, the Romulans had them. Yes, they were problematic. Chances are the technology may have been either not lost, but not widely dispersed after, you know, Romulus and Vulcan got together. So, I mean, they could be developing it or redeveloping it, trying to make it safer.
Allow me to
I
clarify a point.
I didn't
Sorry,
really
Greg.
think of it as, oh, there's never been a singularity drive before. Because anybody that follows Star Trek knows that there has been.
Hi, Tanya. Thanks for joining us. I know some people stopped watching because they had issues with the series. We have issues with the series, but we are watching it through. If you want to fire off your comments, Tanya, thank you. I understand you're on vacation, but thanks for joining us, Tanya. Well, Greg, allow me to what I consider the plot hole. The Romulans had that established technology, but what happened? How did they lose it then? The technology was just, it was done. It's not the Federation that I'm saying it's a plot hole. This was common in the Romulan Empire. I know what happened in Star Trek 2009, but the technology was still there as far as I'm concerned. So that's what I'm claiming is the whole. Shouldn't the Romulans / Vulcans in the time of the burn, wouldn't they be theoretically? Because remember, it was the dilithium warp drives that went up in smoke.
Well, it was all dilithium. Maybe the Romulans had to use dilithium in their quantum drive.
Maybe that's how they explain it away. But
that's how they would explain it away.
Well,
and
if
that
they
would have
even
gone
are.
boom boom too.
Yeah, but we don't know. So I'm just saying that they used a quantum singularity for their drive. They were not typical that the other guys used. But I don't want to beat a dead horse. I'm right, you're wrong. It's just, hey, there's something here that I wonder if it will be addressed in the future. So that's just one of my things. Go ahead, Greg.
No, I was just thinking that, you know, the Federation would probably be more safety conscious. So they're probably, you know, for it to be experimental for the Federation, you know, exploring the use of it. I mean, because, I mean, a singularity is essentially a super dense matter. So it would create a gravity well. Then they'd be harnessing that for power somehow.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would say, you know, anytime you stick a black hole into anywhere, it's probably going to be a problematic situation. So they might have been exploring it for safety to make us more safe.
Yeah. Just unfortunately, it didn't work out for the Federation, at least that we know of right there. But hey, you know, Starfleet Intelligence, Starfleet Security, all those agencies still exist. You never know. There's always a rogue admiral out there. I mean, Treaty of Algeron violations. You know, a transphasic cloak. You never know.
Where?
Yeah, I know. Where?
Greg doesn't remember that at all. You know.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I don't know anything about rogue admirals experimenting with things.
That's funny. I wasn't even thinking that was good. Right. I don't know what you're talking about. But going on further, guys, this episode clearly had my attention. I was in. It was riveting. And I like the fact that Captain Ake was like, you know what? He's not stupid. He's always playing an angle. He is pretty smart at this. What is the deal? And they thought they got the jump on him, and she was right that he was playing an angle. And I loved how the bridge crew, the kids, were able to find the ship also. I thought that was a creative use of technology. So that was good. And when the first officer said, "It's think of the size of the ship, your parameters are bigger." That's how the captain found the Titanic. Remember, you're not looking for a speck; you're looking for a mile-long ship. That's an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. So you don't have to scan every inch of the ocean bottom. You can, find some. So that was cool. The teams working together, I enjoyed that. I should have seen the red shirt in the War College because I'd never seen him before. I'm like, I forgot this guy was going to die.
As soon as they showed him, my wife in like the turbo lift, my wife called it. She's like, he's gonna die.
That's funny because I missed it.
I missed it too. Yeah.
I just thought it was amusing that it was an officer and not just some enlisted security guy. Yeah. I mean, this was an officer that was in charge of the training mission. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, yay, a new War College person that we get to meet. Nope.
Nah. Well, we met him, but that was about it. Yeah.
I really did like the back and forth. But as Greg mentioned earlier, I liked how the teams, you got to be professional, man. You got to work together. And it was good. It was tense, the episode. Seeing these aliens, I was taking them for I wanted to see what they could do. I was okay with that. I was shocked when the officer gave his life, but he did it for a reason, and he did it readily, and it was a good plan. And then when the Vulcan War College told the other guy, I don't know if you're familiar with this famous officer, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. It almost felt like a slap. It's like, duh, this does happen. And the whole theme with Nala Ake about how he played her and everything at the end. Wow. This reminded me of the episode of Picard, the Wounded, season 4. I believe it was season 4, where they're going after the rogue Captain Ben Maxwell, and the conversation that Ducat and Picard had at the very end. Gomaset, it's the same actor, says, well, yeah, it was very good. Says, well, if you thought that we were carrying weapons, why didn't you board the ship? And Picard's line is, well, if I had, you and I wouldn't be having this nice chat right now. And that whole conversation, he said, take back to your leaders. We'll be watching. That was drama at its finest. It was great. And the conversation at the end between, Noose and Nala Ake. Wow. That was some impressive writing at the end. Wow. I was shocked when the Vulcan died. I genuinely gasped. And I saw where the shot went. Greg.
They almost pulled the Discovery because it's like, okay, they're giving him, a lot more lines. They're making him likable. And it's like, God damn it, then they killed him.
Yeah.
Michael, Greg, please.
I've
already said quite a bit.
I agree with Greg. It was like, oh, he's actually nice. And I went, oh, this is nice. And then he gets shot. Yeah, it was just like, oh well. There's 2 down that we thought we were gonna, maybe like. And,
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It was
when Noose
unless Kyle has his Katra.
Yeah, you never know. Now, I did appreciate when Noose Braca, the hills are alive with the sound of murder. I almost heard the music when he said that. I was like, very good, Noose. I appreciate that Noose is multi-dimensional. There's more to him than just a bad guy. He's not he's just capable. He's not all powerful. He's not everything. He has to outthink these people. And I like him now as the evil guy. If the recurring character, I guess. Yeah, he's all right.
Now, since he's number one on the Federation hit list.
I do appreciate your comment, Navy American vet. We have had similar comments. I thank you for commenting, and I'll take it for what it is. Look, we understand things change. So what we do here is we concentrate on the stories and how it works. We've said there are programs that we don't like, but we do comment on it, and we would appreciate, anything else that you would have to say. We're open to it. We're big on story. We're big on action. We didn't like several episodes of this series already, but we concentrate on the storytelling, and we've had issues. Don't get me wrong, but I thank you for taking the time to comment here, and we will be reading your comments. Had you said this show sucks, bye. You at least gave us a reason, and I thank you for that. So, I did appreciate some of the comments that were in here, and like I said, the engagement at the end by the two wasn't tour de force by any means, but it was sharp dialogue, and it was good. Gentlemen. Thank you, Andrew.
So, to the Navy vet, thank you for your service, and go Navy. I come from a Navy family. I have to say, though, diversity and inclusion has always been part of Star Trek. And in the 32nd century, I think it's reasonable, if not unexpected, that you're going to have not just mixed humans, but mixed aliens. You're going to have that variety in the universe, just as we have that variety on this planet. It's not something to shy away from. It's not something to be looked down on. Inclusion is how we make sure that the best of the best are present to play their A game. We've got other issues with this show.
Yeah.
Scenes that go on way too long. Although the last several, the writing has been really good. There's just been a little bit too much of it. But one of the things that I think stands out as something that's inconsistent for an organization like Starfleet is the panicky girl. They brought her back again. And we've got the she had to be removed from the bridge and brought to sickbay. Maybe they need to give her some Zoloft or something. But
or maybe this is not the place for her, because if she broke down with what happened, that is nothing like what ended up happening later.
She was bonkers in the first episode.
Yeah, she was.
She was running down the corridor, communicator. Red alert. We don't need you to say that. That's what the klaxon's for.
Yeah, I just thought I agree with you, Greg. I was just going like, she's back and she still hasn't got herself under control. This is not good. I can see her, if she was on the bridge in an important position and something strange out of the ordinary happened and she just freaked out like that, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near her and be in, by her station or be affected by what she was doing on the ship. That's just scary in my book.
May I add to both of you what you just... Sorry, Greg, go ahead.
You'd think admissions would have cleared that out, if not the first semester or whatever they've been through at this point. So, for a minor character, it seems like an unnecessary annoyance. and this isn't against the actress or anything. It just doesn't fit. Unless they did an episode, focusing on kids that can't. Oh, that's funny. Focusing on kids that fry in the beginning of their service training.
Look, it is an academy. There should be some improvement. I actually would have accepted her, maybe freaking out, but they should have helped her. They should have reminded her, you are in the academy. You have to turn that corner. So her doing everything that these fine gentlemen here on this panel have said with no progress, we're halfway through the year. Come on, folks. Greg, everything you said, and I probably cut you off, my brother. I'm sorry.
No, I should be cut off. I ramble sometimes.
If you ramble, I am the thesaurus of rambling. So, no, it's all good. Hey, folks, we have quite a few people in the chat room. Let us know who you are and where you hail from. Black Navy American vet, thank you. And Greg, way to go. I am sorry. Thank you for your service. I did miss that. And Greg, thank you for the response. So, and Andrew, that was funny. Yeah. Dad works in admissions. That was really cool. That was good. I appreciate that.
I'm wondering how he knew. I mean, I heard that from somebody else.
Hey, you never know.
Either that or they're so desperate. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hey, you got a quota. Ooh, you have to fill seats the first year. And the full Federation members are not there. So who knows? I got to tell you guys, there were some other lines in here where they find out about Caleb's, girlfriend. I don't know her name yet. I'm sorry. I loved when her brother said, "Hey, look."
I think it's like Tarina or Tarina or something.
Tarina. He said,
"It's not
Betazoids are Betazoids. We said stuff."
Mm-hmm. Occam is actually, for somebody who seemed like background, he's actually becoming kind of like amusing.
Yes. And I did appreciate how he was in this episode. And folks, for some people saying that Tarina should be able to do this, even though she's first episode of The Next Generation, she spoke to Riker. Remember that encounter at Farpoint.
That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she spoke to Riker directly. So this is not strange. This is, maybe it's a bit excessive, but now we know why she's carrying that little humdinger.
Because she can do even more than most Betazoids can. So
yeah. And that's fine. It kind of gets old that everyone has superpowers, but this is okay. It fits. I'm actually okay with that explanation. That there are people that can harm. I mean, she harmed her dad. Wow.
Now we know how that happened.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd want somebody that can psionically destroy people's brains on my side.
Yeah. Thank you, Admiral Tarima Sadal. The one thing that I really did like about this episode, again, this one felt like the episode first contact, also fourth season, but who watches the Watchers? Remember, in that episode, the Federation blew it by accident or by design. Remember, the station was destroyed and the proto culture was damaged. We didn't get away unscathed. This episode was real. There were ramifications. I did not like to see that dude. He was an a-hole. He needed to get his, whatever. I didn't need to see him die, and I did like the character. He's a jerk, but he's a Vulcan. That's what they are. And I was really disappointed when they killed him off. And the what is it? The Sam. What happened to Sam? Again, there are ramifications. Okay,
Yeah, it's
well,
actually
I
kind of
do.
cool.
Okay, I do see the comment in the chat room, and I appreciate your comment, but um, I acknowledge your comment. Okay, thank you for sharing, Greg.
I got derailed.
Yeah,
Sam, that was
so we're talking about
interesting.
Sam. Yes, yes.
yeah,
I thought it was weird that she could interface with the computer just by like going into it somehow. But I thought it was neat that the way that they showed that she was damaged,
yeah,
by her unable to maintain her physical appearance. I thought that was kind of cool.
yeah. Look, again, I don't want to be overtly pedantic here, but look, what has us interested when the episode is good, because there have not been good episodes, is the story, and there was a good story right here. And hey, we want to enjoy the show. We have issues with it, and that's why we're going to talk about it. And like I said, I appreciate your comments, but this is Star Trek, and I do want to follow what Greg said. Star Trek always was us, humanity, venturing out into the universe. Anyone who says that this Star Trek is an image of today, Star Trek back then was an image of then, but it was progressive, and they did things that are doing it now. Michael and I have talked about this for years. I've spoken less with Greg just because we've been busy, but I thank Greg for what he said a while ago. Star Trek was humanity venturing forth, and that was the awesome thing. They had an alien on their bridge, in addition to many different cultures, and they were officers. They were respected.
Which was not normal
Unheard.
then.
Yes.
Unheard of, not normal. And if they were there, they were pigeonholed in jobs or stereotypes, and that were not what we saw in Star Trek. I mean, they were front and center in Star Trek, and they were important characters. They weren't the janitor.
Sci-fi has always,
yes,
done socio-political commentary in ways that don't often blatantly come out and say, I think this. The original series spoke out against the Vietnam War, of all things.
Yeah.
And disguised it.
So unfortunately, I'm going to have to ignore some of these comments. The only one I do want to pick at, despite the source, is the Sonic one. We didn't get to see it because the Sargasso was disabled before it got to get fired off. But how would a sonic weapon work in space? That just didn't make sense to me. Like underwater, yeah. But I mean, unless somehow they, can create resonance in the hull that like it's I don't know. It just wasn't, I mean, somehow I was thinking somehow they would have to have gotten it like to the kids or something.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be something that you would be able to fire from a ship.
Yeah,
and still try to carry any sort of scientific credibility.
Yeah. I agree with you, Greg. I was looking forward to seeing how that was going to happen, but we didn't see it happen. I thought it was a cop-out as to how quickly they disabled the Sargasso, which was a Voyager-class ship, by the way, just a modern one. And at least you can see the design of it. So that I didn't really, that was a fault in the episode. I didn't like that part. I don't know if you thought there were some other negatives other than the very beginning, like we said.
That just
Look,
went
this
on
is
way too long.
yeah, it did. And guys, this episode was far from perfect, but at least we got some new characterizations of the evil guy, Noose, whatever his name is, Noose
Raka.
Raka. He is smarter than them, and he caught them at this twice, and he gets what's her face, and he
I will
used the
say
psychology
though,
against her. Go ahead, Greg.
yeah, I will say though, I think Ake did pin it on him that he was afraid and he's a coward because at the end he was gloating. He had surprised himself that he could pull whatever he pulled off. And I'm sure there'll be some continuation of this story. But for the she wasn't entirely off with what was going on with him.
No, she was right on. I mean, she knew there was something. She knew that he was hiding something. She just was trying to figure out what it was, and she just couldn't pin down what it was. I mean, you know, but he had calculated all that they'd bring in that ship. The base would be left defenseless, which was another thing that I thought was interesting because Vance said originally that he had several other starships that were in warping distance to them, which means they were warping distance to go to that base and protect it if the other ship was going away. So I just thought that was a little.
Well, in addition to that, they took out the ship relatively easily.
Yeah,
that's why it's it's convenient that you
but
fire
not the
a few.
Athena.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
And they beat the heck out of the Athena in the first episode.
Yeah, so that is the frustrating part of it, but it was a means to an end. What did he get? What was the technology?
We'll find out.
Yeah. Why do we see zippers on all uniforms? 900 years in the future, even Picard had zippers.
Zippers are awesome.
And you know
Look
what?
at Space 1999. They had the biggest zippers in sci-fi.
I don't know why they have zippers. Michael and I talked about this in the first season of Voyager, or I apologize, of Discovery, when we saw a background thing where they were talking about how they were making the uniforms, and they're using the printer technology. So it's crazy what they're doing with them, but they have zippers. Yeah.
Well,
it is what it is.
I mean, in the original uniforms, they had the hidden zippers, and honestly, I have dealt with those. They can be an absolute pain when something goes wrong.
But were they really hidden, Michael?
It depends who made the uniform.
Oh my goodness. Is it lack of attention to detail? I don't know. Look, sometimes, well, okay, I wouldn't pretend, and I'm not going to even bother to answer. Dude. Yeah. Is it? It could very well be. Or it's a, look.
Well, on this show, the zippers, I think somebody realized they can't get away from having them hidden all the time. Velcro doesn't always work.
No, it does not.
And they put little deltas on the zipper pulls.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until you had mentioned it. So, look, yeah. I could do without the zippers too.
I've done fan films, and I used to drive me nuts when people would say, "Oh, your zipper pull's hanging out," and it's like, so. Oh. Did we never see Picard unzip his jacket or Sisko unzip his vest? Did we never see that?
That's a good question. I think they did. maybe an insurrection when Picard was changing his uniform. I think I don't recall, but I think we've seen some of the officers change from time to. Oh, I think in Voyager it might have happened, but yeah,
And it was the original series, even on black and white television, it was obvious there was a closure scene on the shoulder.
I never caught that. I guess I wasn't looking for it, and that's just me
Well, I
being
used to sit
naive.
on the floor right in front of the 20-inch television. So.
I don't think I had a 20-inch television. No, actually, we did. We had the big box in my parents' living room, or in the bedroom. It was huge, and I was the remote
Oh,
control
yes,
back then.
yes.
Yes, I think it's some of our kids never played that. They should. They should learn what it is to sit at the foot of the bed and have to change the control. Yeah,
And you
I
only
was
have
remote
3
control.
channels.
I had a few
Or if you
more
were
being in
lucky.
LA.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, being in LA, I had a few more. So it's all good. What else did you guys see in the episode? Where there's some.
I thought it was weird that the comic book.
Oh yeah,
I liked that the computer had to learn from it, but I thought it was weird that the uniforms depicted were like classic uniforms.
Yeah.
yes.
If the
Yeah.
comic book was only supposed to be 100 years old. So
Maybe they were in a retro phase back then.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. At first, when I was first watched it, I'm like, did they like use art from our Star Trek comics? Because the two of the characters kind of looked like Kirk and McCoy, and then when they showed
It did.
on the second rewatch, I paid more attention, and no, that was. My wife thought it was a missed opportunity that if the ship was named Miyazaki, that the comic book wasn't done in the Studio Ghibli style, because the ship was named for Miyazaki, the artist who gave us many of the Studio Ghibli films.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So maybe a missed opportunity there. I liked that Caleb was playing with his new spacesuit, his plasma-based spacesuit. I didn't like that they didn't weaponize the plasma-based spacesuit when they were fighting the aliens. I thought that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
So I had a few other notes, and I'm trying to think.
What did you think about when he put in the programmable matter at the beginning to get the systems online?
I think that's going to be his shtick.
Yes.
Because he's used it before. Not a bad idea. I think I saw online that when Caleb graduates, he's going to be voted most likely to go to Section 31. I thought that was clever. So apologies. I didn't make a note to credit the poster, but I thought that was really cool. I thought that was funny. We've got the I talked about the hologram. I should cross these off as I go through them, right?
Yeah. Me too, Greg. I know. You'll see me do this. Like, wait, did I do that? And yes, folks, for those of you that are I still handwrite my notes. I do scene by scene breakdown. Guys, thank God I don't do this anymore. We used to do beat by beat breakdowns. That was hard. And I fully admit I blew it back then. When it became an open, it turned out to be a lot better. It's just I didn't want to miss anything, but thank God my co-host stuck it through and said, this psycho will come around. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that.
I've got the other thing I had is Jaden. Sometimes I think his making his voice deeper gets in the way of his lines, and it came out a couple times here. It seems like he's more focused on trying to keep his voice deep than he is on what he's saying, and it doesn't sound natural. I can
Or
only
sounds garbled a little bit sometimes, at least to me.
well, at first we thought it was like somehow augmented or made, done with the technology. But the one thing that stuck out, I didn't understand why he seemed pissed that Caleb and Tarina were like now together.
Oh, I think it was just because Caleb hadn't told him, so he was mad.
But it like just happened.
But it doesn't matter. He didn't know that. He was just mad that he didn't tell him.
These kids today.
Hey, that's the way kids are.
Grandparents criticizing 20-something-year-old relationships. Oh man. I thought I loved the tactical gear. So, because I really liked when they introduced tactical gear in Strange New Worlds, and I'm kind of glad that this show carried that idea forward. The only time we ever saw it in the original Star Trek was in the films, and even then it was what like the security guards, and it was awful looking. This tactical gear looks good.
Yeah.
By the way, this is the book that I was talking about. It was one of 4, and it was done. I don't see the copyright strike. There it is, 1996. This was First Strike. This one was written by Diane Carey. It was Invasion. Book 1 of 4, as I mentioned, and the enemies are the Furies, and it's a horde. That's why I wonder if it's the ones from these, and it was really cool how they worked in.
You don't remember if like how they described them in those books to say that they're. I mean, other than the namesake.
When I saw them, it kind of, for lack of a better, it clicked. Yes. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of interesting. But I don't recall, but they were the Furies. And when I saw them, I'm like, okay, I guess that fits. But no, Greg, I do not recall. In the book, it does describe them, and I'll have to see, but it was it was cool. It was a big deal. It was called Invasion, and the Furies were invading,
I'll have to check those out. Especially if it intentionally crossed the different crews.
Yeah, and there was a connection which was really well done. Well, you know what? No, I'm not going to spoil that one. If people are going to read it, it wasn't bad, guys. It was the first one that included all 4 at the time. It was TOS, Next Generation, and DS9 and Voyager. So, and then shortly thereafter, they did the Section 31 crossover, which was not bad either.
Yeah, but I haven't read that one either. So many books, a little time.
Yes, and I have the paperback versions, and I also have the digital versions. There's a lot of books out there, man. But, yeah. Anyway. What else do you guys have?
I have one more dislike that I didn't mention. The garbage bag crossover seal from the shuttle to the ship. I did not like that. It just looked like a garbage bag on wire hoops.
Remind me, Greg.
Yeah, I can't.
The crossover seal.
I must have missed that because I don't
From
remember that at
it
all.
looked like garbage bags around wire hoops when they. It looked cheap when they were crossing from the shuttle to the
Oh, to the
ship.
Miyazaki, right?
Yeah,
Oh, I'll have to go back and see that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
I don't.
it looked
I blocked it
it looked
out.
cheap. You couldn't tell that it was connected to the shuttle. You couldn't tell that they were coming in through an airlock. They almost made it look like they were already on the ship and it was part of the ship.
Yeah.
But for people that can fly around with their nacelles detached from their spaceships, you think they could have had like some sort of like cool force field connection between the two ships or something.
Yeah.
If they got plasma based spacesuits, it bugged me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. Fair enough. Michael, any other comments?
No, I think that's it for me.
Greg?
Nope.
The episode had my attention. It was all right. Like I say, I'm big on story. It's like, what are they trying to talk about? And yes, I know they took hostages, BFD. Okay. But we learn some good things on it, and there's actual genuine loss on some of the characters. That's why for me it's what I would call real. There are ramifications to this, and I want to see where they're going to go with it. Granted, it may be nothing, it may be worthless, but it was good enough that it had my attention. But like what was mentioned by my co-host, yeah, there are things that I did not like, especially that the ensign, the young lady. Come on, man, we're halfway through the season, and she's still acting like a first day cadet, a cadet again. Hey, didn't Riker tell Shelby, hey, you want to take it to the captain? Fine, through me. You do an end run around me, I'll snap you back so hard you think you're a first year cadet again.
Now, if they did a story where they're in some sort of crisis, not unlike the one that they had today or yesterday, 2 days ago, and the interhuman part of the story was them trying to pull her through it and deal with it and understanding, how different people react in a crisis, with either the resolution at the end is that she drops out or she ends up figuring out, she learns how to cope. That would have been a valuable reason to have a character like that.
Yes. Right now, we see her as just no. I see her as just. She's not funny. She's annoying and almost dangerous. So,
I would go with the dangerous in my book.
Yeah.
It's like one of these things is not like the other type of situation. It's like, it's.
Greg, if she's really meant to be the humor, I don't see the humor in it whatsoever.
I don't think she's meant to be the humor at all. I think Laura is meant to be the humor. I mean, she was the only funny, she had the only funny lines in the episode.
Oh, yeah, where she was going to make the bet or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, she's all right. It is what it is.
Love Laura. Love her.
Enterprise, a series, the Marines had tactical gear. Yeah, they did.
That's right, they did.
The Makos, yeah.
The Makos, yep.
Yeah, that was cool. I appreciate that reminder. Yeah, right. Look,
that's right.
It is, for the amount of money that they make, they should get this stuff right. And I'm not saying that was the wrong part, but the connections to the original universe. Someone talks about at the very beginning when you see all the ships, it does look kind of cool. But Voyager, she's at warp with her nacelles, not at warp. Remember, they would go up. The geometry would be that it would. It's not. I was like, ooh, yeah, that kind of missed that one.
I mean, things like that are goofs.
Yeah.
When you're doing compositing with physical models and green screening and all that, you can't really go back and correct those, but they're doing everything in the computer today.
Yeah, that's
And it would have been so easy for them to if they could make the aliens' faces distorted and have them have a plasma-based spacesuit. They could have done a plasma-based tunnel between the shuttle at the docking between the shuttle and the ship, and they could have actually made that airlock look cool. But no, we got the plaque. Sue said, "Looks like garbage bags."
You know what? It might have been that they did everything, and the set designers were like, "Oh crap, we missed the connector." It could have been that, and they're like, "Dude, give me some trash bags." And the wire. I'm just saying, hey, they're not perfect. I have to watch that again, Greg, because I now know where it was, and I did not notice that. So, and you're pretty
It
good at
seemed
picking up that
intentional
stuff.
because the light, there was like a lighting effect
Yeah.
that it was like they were trying to make it look cool. So like it was like twisted a certain way so that, but you know, I don't know. They had a shuttle set with the episode in Discovery with Tilly. They could have reused some of that, I would think, if maybe they just didn't have the shuttle set or couldn't build the shuttle set for it.
And where is Tilly?
Where
It's
is
episode
Tilly?
6. Yeah. Where is Tilly? Yeah. All right. Well, what are your yay or nay, Michael? Oh, Greg, yay or nay?
Yay! I give it a yay. But a little. But mostly a yay.
Greg?
I'm going to give it a thumbs up. The Star Trekky part of this episode was really good. The crisis situation, what the kids were doing, both on the bridge of the Miyazaki and the bridge of the Athena. I thought all of that was good Star Trek storytelling. I liked the interaction between Ake and Nusbraka, but there was way too much of it.
Oh,
They could have gotten, or they could have broken it up.
And not had such long dialogues at one
Yeah.
time.
So again, I think this show suffered a little bit with trying to do too much because they had that. They had the space station. They had the whole thing with Braca trying, elaborating on what he thinks Nala's history is. They had the thing with the girl. So it's like, I think they were still trying to do too much, but the essence of this episode was pretty darn good.
I give it a thumbs up. Not this, not that. It is thumbs up. I there are issues, and there are. So I do want to thank everyone that joined us. We appreciate your comments. We do read them, and we're going to do our best to comment on them. And we thank you for spending time with us. Look, we're open to this conversation. We are fans of Star Trek, but we
And we're also old.
yeah, but we are going to give our opinions, and we're open to opinions. It's not our way or the highway. We listen. We don't have time for people that just say it sucks. It's like, okay, thank you. Thanks for playing. See you later. Everyone who has something to say and either a question or a comment that's worthy, if you give us reason to answer, we will. So we thank everyone that's done so. So, folks, on behalf of Greg, on behalf of Michael, I'm Roger. We'll see you guys on the other side. Peace always.